Don O'Malley with Don's Breakfast Cereal Show. Thanks for tuning back in. Today we have the second half of Federal Operator 99. Now in this, Jerry Blake is played by Martin Lamont. FBI's Operator 99 and Jim Belmont, played by the great George J. Lewis, is the bad guy. Now George J. Lewis played Zorro's father in Walt Disney's TV show Zorro for many years. We also have Federal Men, a TV show from the 50s, which was also known as Treasury Men in Action. So here we go, and thanks for tuning in. I'll be back.
Don't move. Get your hands up.
This will bring all the cops in town.
I'll get rid of him. That's the end of Operator 99.
Then we dredged the sedan out of the water. It's certainly the most valuable car in the world. There was $250,000 in gold built into the body.
And Belmont almost got it.
Unfortunately, we didn't get Belmont. Headquarters is getting impatient over the fact that he's still at large. I'll have to answer their letter tonight. Oh, don't bother. I'll dictate it on the machine and you can type it up tomorrow.
All right. Good night, Jerry.
Good night, Joyce. Confidential data in the Belmont case. In Jim Belmont, we are dealing with a criminal genius. Following his spectacular escape from custody, he did not hide out like the average criminal. Instead, he conceived a daring plan to steal the crown jewels of the Archduchess Cornelia from the Glenview Bank.
Lock this up in the strong room, will you, Benson?
Yes, sir. It will only be for a little while and be a great convenience to me.
We're happy to be of service to you.
Thank you.
all set?
Everything is working smoothly. Calling F2. B1, calling F2.
F2 speaking. Come in, Chief. We're ready to go.
Start rolling. The keys are in the top left-hand drawer of the information desk. The case will blow up in 2 minutes.
Right. Let's go.
Get the fire extinguisher. I'll turn in the alarm.
Where's the fire?
In the safety vault in the basement, Chief.
You see the result of perfect planning and timing, my dear?
Yes, but Farrell had better be out of there before the real firemen arrive.
We heard the explosion. The fire's in there, back of the vault, in that...
Glad you got here. This won't put it out.
Why doesn't he hurry? There he is.
I burned my face. I have to get to a hospital.
Farrell.
Blake's after us. Step on it.
A study of Belmont's methods reveals one dominant characteristic. He has, as his associates, only expert criminals. This suggests a method of drawing him into the open.
Theft of rare paintings still unsolved. Looting of City Museum remains a mystery. Police are at a loss to guess how the theft was engineered. With guards on watch inside and at every door, an unidentified man performed the impossible feat of stealing the painting.
I'd like to meet the man who had talent enough to do it right under the noses of the police.
Talking about the museum robbery?
Yes.
I found out who did it.
Who was it?
A guy by the name of Shaw. I found out about it from Harris, one of the boys. Shaw was smart enough to steal the pictures all right, but now he doesn't know how to dispose of them. They're too hot.
We could sell those paintings to our agents in the East. Shaw would probably be glad to get a small cut. Get word to him that I'll meet him and make a deal with him.
Better make this a good job, Ed. Have to meet Belmont face to face.
How close do you expect to get to him?
Close enough to handcuff him, I hope. He fell for the story I planted about the museum robbery. Finally, a message filtered through that Belmont would meet Shaw 9 o'clock tonight in the rear of a building on Garrick Street.
You will be sure. I've been making up our operators for 10 years, and I've never had a complaint yet. How does he look, Miss Kingston?
Put the wig on him so I can get a better idea. Why, it changes you completely, Jerry.
Well, I only hope it fools Belmont tonight.
Freeze! Who are you and what do you want here?
I'm Shaw.
Just a minute, Shaw.
What's the idea?
Just to make sure you don't have a gun.
Okay.
Go down those steps to the basement.
Don't come any closer, Shaw. Unroll those paintings so that I can see them.
All right. Don't move.
What does this mean?
It's an arrest, Belmont.
Ah, yes. I recognize your voice now, Blake. But you've aged a lot lately, haven't you?
I'll feel a lot younger when you're behind bars.
You'll never put me there. Very clever in baiting your trap, Blake, but not clever enough. I always keep an ace up my sleeve. I prepared an unpleasant surprise for anyone who tried to double-cross me. The bulletproof glass was part of it. Now, you'll get the rest.
an arrest, Belmont.
Yes. I recognize your voice now, Blake. But you've aged a lot lately, haven't you?
I'll feel a lot younger when you're behind bars.
You'll never put me there.
Drop that gun. Be quick about it.
I prepared an unpleasant surprise for anyone who tried to double-cross me. The bulletproof glass was part of it. Now, you'll get the rest.
Thanks, Joyce. Another second I'd have been a goner.
Where's Belmont?
He's on the other side of those flames. Let's find another way to get into this place. And Belmont managed to escape through a secret exit. Carlson, the man that Joyce captured, refused to tell us anything. However, I did find this blueprint in his pocket. It's a slim lead, but it may tell us where Belmont plans to strike next.
It looks like a large industrial plant of some kind.
Yes, it does. But it only shows part of a plant. And there's no name on it.
Apparently, in this corner, there are two large tanks marked chemical settling tanks. That's our clue. Only a plant handling chemicals in large quantities would use such large tanks.
Well, that's true, except that hundreds of plants use chemicals. And it'll take a long time to find out which one this is.
Nevertheless, I must locate the owner of this particular plant and warn him. I think I know how we can save a little time. First of all, Joyce, we'll want to know the names of all plants in the city that have permits to store chemicals. Go to the fire commissioner's office and get a list of all such permits issued to plants in the city. I'll get a similar list from the county.
Right.
Fred, you'd better make a couple of copies of the blueprint. We'll each need one to check with.
Obviously, you have good news.
I'll say I have. Everything's set. The armored car will deliver the payroll to the Tacoma Chemical Company at 3:30 sharp.
Fine, fine. We'll go over the plans once more. Give me the blueprint.
But I gave it to Carlson. He was going to work with me on the job.
That means Blake has it now and we're in trouble.
It won't do him any good. I tore all the names off of it.
Well, at least you thought of that. If anyone but Blake had it, I wouldn't worry. Nevertheless, we'll go ahead as planned. Rita, call Morton, tell him to get over here in a hurry. I have a little scheme. I'll keep Blake so busy he won't have time to interfere.
Have the county list. Did Joyce get back yet?
Yes, she did. She picked up her copy of the blueprint. She's out checking on it now.
Great, then I'll get to work on mine.
Hello? Yes, just a moment. Jerry, it's for you.
Hello? Yes.
Mr. Blake, this is Charles Bedford of the Bedford Chemical Company. Our company manufactures a secret compound for the government, and I'm afraid someone's going to attempt to steal the formula.
What makes you think so?
Well, just recently, we discharged one of our men for snooping around my office. And now we find that a blueprint of our plant has disappeared.
I'm very glad you phoned me, Mr. Bedford. I have the missing blueprint right here, and I've been trying to identify it. I'd advise you to put on an extra guard at once, and I'll try to pick up the man you mentioned. Could you give me his name and address?
Norton Corby. He lives at 362 Holmes Street, room 24.
I'll check on the man immediately. Thank you, Mr. Bedford. At last a break. I'm on my way.
Come in. Up with him, Blake.
So the great operator 99 walks right into Belmont's trap, just like any ordinary mug.
We all slip sometime.
Yeah, but this is your last time. Better turn around. I never did like to shoot a guy in the back.
Now tell me. All right, we'll both answer it. Say yes or no as I direct.
Hello?
Corby, has Blake arrived?
No.
He's due there any minute. When you dispose of him, go to the road outside the Tacoma chemical plant and cover Farrell's getaway. Understand?
Yes.
So it's the Tacoma Chemical Company.
Laundry, check the list, please.
Can't do it now, because the armored car with the payroll is due. Besides, you boys will have to wait outside until the money is checked and deposited in the safe. Rules, you know.
Well, I wouldn't want to break any rules.
Oh, you can take the soiled towels with you as you go.
She would have to show up now. That armored car will be here in a minute. What'll we do with her?
Get some towels out of that hamper and we'll tie her up.
All here.
Thanks, Jim. See you next week.
Okay, Joe.
One peep out of you and you're finished. Tie and gag him so he can't give an alarm. I'll get the money.
The girl was in, fell out. It must have stopped Blake, too.
Good. That takes care of both of them.
You better pull up here a minute so I can close the door in the back.
Calling all cars. Calling all cars. Stop and investigate all Green Star Laundry trucks. Search for Matt Farrell and Rita Parker, wanted for payroll robbery. Farrell is attired in Green Star Laundry outfit. That is all.
If they'd identified Farrell and Rita, it means Blake was on the scene. No matter what we plan, he blocks it.
Yes, but it looks as though Farrell and Rita got away with the money.
What good is the money if Blake gets the serial numbers of the bills and publishes them? And the laundry truck. He'll have every garage in town searched within 24 hours. We've got to get rid of it.
I'd better call the garage.
Yes, and tell Sulco to have Farrell call me as soon as he gets there.
From Belmont?
Yeah, he wants you to call him.
Hello, Jim. Had a little trouble with Blake. All right, I'll wait here.
What's bothering Jim?
Blake's gotten out a broadcast. Now the cops are searching for us in the truck, so you'll have to get rid of it. Drive it out the back road into the hills and run it over a cliff into the lake.
Well, what about you?
I'm waiting here for Jim. He's coming here to pick up the money and then fly east with it. Where can I put this till Belmont gets here?
Right in there. You can hide there, too, if the cops show up.
Are you sure that the Tacoma Chemical Company was on Joyce's list?
Positive.
She may have arrived there at the time of the robbery. It's all right, I'll get it. Hello? Are you all right, Joyce? We've been worried about you.
They carried me away in the laundry truck. Rita was trying to ditch it, but I got it away from her.
Good girl. What happened to the payroll money?
Farrell has it now and is in the Super Service garage on Fairfax Road. Belmont's going there to pick it up and fly east with it.
I'll get right down there. Do you think you can get back here all right in the truck?
Surely. Unless the police pull me in for the payroll robbery. You better get started.
Right. Hold down the fort, Fred. I think we'll catch Belmont with the goods this time.
Taking Belmont long enough to get here.
He's probably having trouble arranging for the plane. I'll be back in a minute. I got to take this outside and make a fitting.
See anything of Belmont's car?
No. Maybe he's not coming.
Why, of course he's coming. He's got to pick up the money.
Then we'll be waiting for him.
Blake.
All right, put him up.
So Salco double-crossed me.
No, he didn't. I took him by surprise and borrowed some of his clothes. All right, turn around. Put your hands behind you.
late, Belmont. All right, turn around.
Farrell's already a prisoner.
the bag Rita left in the truck.
The usual paraphernalia.
A radio log. Look, someone has checked that piano concert.
That's right. This program was broadcast yesterday. I wonder why it's marked.
Well, Belmont's a musician. That's reason enough.
Not for me. Jim Belmont has a motive for everything he does. PAG. It's a Kansas station. We'll wire them for a transcription of the program and have them send it by airmail. It will give us a clue to Belmont's next move.
So now you understand, my dear, that it was necessary for me to hear the broadcast yesterday in order to learn when this pianist Carlotti would arrive in this city.
Yes, I understand. Carlotti is coming here to play the accompaniments for this highbrow fiddler, Morello, at a concert. And you want to steal Morello's fiddle.
Not just a fiddle, my dear. His Stradivarius violin. It may interest you to know that the instrument is valued at more than $100,000.
Well, 100 grand. Oh, some fiddle. How are you going to get it?
That is where Signor Carlotti will help us. With his assistance, I should have no difficulty whatsoever.
You have just heard the final number of Signor Roberto Carlotti's farewell program over this station. This world-renowned artist leaves tonight for a concert engagement on the West Coast, where he will present a joint recital with Giuseppe Morello, internationally famous violinist.
So Mr. Carlotti's a good pianist. Exactly where does that lead us?
It convinces me that Jim Belmont is interested in his movement.
But why?
I don't know, but I intend to find out in a hurry. Call the depot, find out what time the train arrives, and meet him. In the meantime, I'll get all the information I can about Carlotti.
That's a new one on me. Chaperone to pianist.
I am honored by your presence, Signor Carlotti.
What is this outrage? What do you want? Who are you?
You may call me Caldwell. Charles Caldwell. Signor Carlotti, I'm going to substitute for you as Morello's accompanist at the concert tonight.
Impossible. You're mad. No one can substitute for me. I will have no part of your devilish schemes.
You are to telephone Morello that you're obliged to leave the city at once because of a sudden death in your family. You are to say that you are sending your friend, Charles Caldwell, for an audition.
No, I will not. Oh, I see it all now. You intend to do some harm to Morello, huh? I refuse.
And if you refuse, we will smash those highly trained fingers of yours, one by one.
No.
Morton.
Yes, sir. I consent. What do you want me to say?
Your speech to Morello is already prepared. Study it carefully. There must be no mistake.
Hello? Yes, Joyce, what news?
Bad news, I'm afraid. 2 men boarded the train at the East Side station and persuaded Carlotti to get off there with them.
Did you get a description of the men?
Not in any detail. I talked to the Pullman conductor, and from the way he described them, one of the men could have been Farrell.
And probably was. Anyway, we do know that Carlotti is supposed to play the accompaniment for Morello, the violinist, at a concert tonight. You'd better return here immediately, and we'll go to see Morello at his hotel.
Signor Morello?
Yes?
I'm Professor Caldwell.
Yes. My friend Carlotti telephoned that you would come.
I trust that I shall be able to take his place as your accompanist.
I hope so, although I doubt it. However, it will take but a moment to determine. technique is excellent, my friend. We must rehearse at once. I'll get my violin. You know it's a Stradivarius, so naturally I keep it under lock and key and allow no one to touch it but myself. There. Is she not beautiful? But when you hear her voice...
Magnificent. I almost regret having to deprive you of it.
What? You dare!
Keep quiet or you won't live. Come in, Farrell.
Well, you got it all right.
Of course. That's what I came after. Tie him up. Wait here.
Well, that's that.
Blake, put that violin down, Belmont. You won't need it where you're going.
Are you suggesting that a harp would be more appropriate?
It will be if you don't drop that gun. Now move over against that wall.
Pull out, quick. He's coming. They're gaining. Did you notify Gorman to stand by?
Yes, he'll be at the intersection of Acton Road.
Calling Gorman. B1, calling Gorman.
Gorman speaking.
I can't switch cars as I had planned. Blake is right behind us. Get set to run him off the road.
Okay, Chief. I'll stop him.
Take my gun and see if you can nick one of their tires when we get within range. Too bad Belmont escaped, but at least I captured Farrell.
Farrell?
Yes, I left him at Morello's hotel, handcuffed. So I'll have to fix this tire and hurry back before Belmont gets to him.
Losing that Stradivarius violin was bad enough, but having Farrell captured by Blake was even worse.
That's right. We need Farrell.
Yes, I know. I'll free him as soon as possible. But I can't make any plans until I know what Blake intends to do with him.
You can't very well walk into his office and ask him.
No. But I can let him sit there and tell us everything we want to know. Water?
Oh, yes. Over there. Get any information from Farrell?
No, but I found this in his pocket. I'm quite certain it's the key to a post office box. And if that's where Belmont gets his mail, we're on the right track. Joyce, will you take this key to the postmaster and see if he can tell you which post office branch issued it?
All right. That's the last time we'll use that post office.
Supposing they can't locate that box for Joyce.
Then we'll have agents watch every post office in the city.
My dear, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to get Joyce Kingston. With her in my hands, I can force Blake to release Farrell. We'll simply exchange prisoners.
That's smart thinking, Jim.
Hello. This is Blake. Rita Parker.
Listen carefully, Blake. We're holding your secretary a prisoner, and if you want to save her life, you'll have to release Farrell within 2 hours.
Let Joyce come to the phone so I'll know if you're telling the truth.
I think I can convince you without that. We got her. She came out of the post office building with that key. Now, do you believe me?
Maybe.
Remember, you have just 2 hours to decide. And by the way, don't waste time having agents watch the post office branches. We won't be using the mails from now on.
Wait a minute. She hung up. Belmont's holding Joyce a prisoner and threatens her life unless we'd release Farrell.
How do you know?
From what Rita Parker said on the telephone. got to get Belmont now. Let's question Farrell once more.
He won't talk, Jerry.
Well, it's worth a try. Come on.
I got it. How did you ever guess there was a dictaphone in here?
Because Rita spoke of my agents watching the post office branches. And I didn't mention it until after Joyce had left. Here, open it up, see what type it is. See what range it has. Anything that will give us a clue.
I know this type well. It has a range of only 4 blocks.
It's a lot of buildings within an area of 4 blocks square.
Wait a minute. Look, see this little loop? It's a directional aerial. What position did you find this gadget in?
Like that.
It's pointing to the north.
That means whoever was listening to us is within an area 4 blocks to the north. This is our district. Let's see what's north of here.
The Mid-City Park takes up 3 blocks. Well, that leaves only 1 block of buildings to cover.
Yeah, those buildings are a department store, a row of small shops, and on this corner, a theater.
The old Velasco. But that's been closed for 2 years.
And that's exactly where I think we'll find Belmont's headquarters.
Belmont himself in this district?
It'd be just like him. He's very daring and always does the unexpected. I'm going to take a look at that theater.
Someone's tinkering with the piano backstage. Put her in the closet and then get out of sight. Toss your gun away, Blake. Miss Kingston's already here. Before I ring down the curtain on you, Blake, I would like to know how you found your way here.
By the way, haven't you forgotten Farrell? I thought you wanted to exchange him for Miss Kingston. Bring him in, boys. And when Jim Belmont fired at me, his bullets went through the closet door. I heard a scream and a fall. Later, when I opened the door, she was lying there, dead.
It was tough luck for her.
It would have been worse luck for me if Rita hadn't hidden herself in the closet. She was standing directly in front of me when Belmont fired through the door.
She got the final payoff from her own boss. In the final analysis, even Jim Belmont wasn't so smart. He could easily have been a leader among men if he'd picked an honest profession. Instead of that, all he gets is a police burial. This is the entire file on the Jim Belmont and Associates. Mark it, case closed.
How come you want to work for me, kid?
I want to get rich. I hear you're the guy I can do it with.
Where'd you hear that?
From him. We did some talking.
I met him a few times at the Nemo bar, boss. I figured maybe we could use one like him around here.
You bet you can.
You talk big, kid. But my operations don't run on talk. What did you ever do?
I worked with Lefty Mason for 2 years heisting stores.
What else?
I drove stolen cars to California. They got me on that. I spent a year in a federal reformatory at Chillicothe.
When'd you get out?
6 months ago. I was in New York passing queer, but I wasn't getting anywhere. That's why I want to work for you. I want to make the big time. And I'll do anything to rate it.
I ain't an easy guy to work for, Ames. I do a lot of different things.
I didn't say I wanted it easy. I just want the dough.
Okay, you start Monday.
To all appearances, it was a simple, routine conversation. The hiring of one member of the underworld by another. And yet, out of this meeting between the racketeer, Herb Carey, and the youth, Frank Ames, developed one of the most unusual situations ever faced by this department. And now, in my role as chief of the United States Secret Service, I want to tell you how the hiring of this new man involved the service in a problem which concerned both counterfeiting and murder. This is Treasury File 4826, United States Secret Service. The case of the deadly dilemma.
60, 70, 80. You did a nice week's work, kid.
That's chicken feed. How long you gonna keep me on your lousy numbers collections anyhow?
You're making money, ain't you?
Yeah, but this kind of dough I used to make rolling drunks.
You don't like it, you could leave.
What kind of an answer is that? I'm hungry. You know I'm hungry. Give me a chance to get my teeth into something.
Like what?
What about the green? Why don't you let me in on that?
Look, kid, you've been doing all right with me so far. I like you. Don't spoil it by pressing, huh?
Yeah? Yeah, this is Chester. For you, boss, the Ogden dame.
Hello. Yeah, I've been waiting for you to make up your mind. What's the answer?
Okay, I'll do anything you say. I'll split the dough with you, 50-50. Only you gotta take care of everything.
I said I would, didn't I? Now relax. I got a couple of things to take care of downtown, then Chester and me'll drop by and see you. Right.
She going through with it?
Yeah, it looks that way. We gotta find somebody to handle it. Let's get downtown. Oh, wait a minute. You know the code. Get the accounts of the numbers boys up to date.
Could I work here? I don't want to carry this around with me.
Just don't touch nothing.
The Rivers Paper Company, eh? Well, what's the connection, Dalton? Does Ames think that the Carey outfit might be getting their paper there?
Well, he wasn't sure, sir. He was just reporting on what he found in Carey's desk and passing it on for what it was worth. He's still having trouble getting information.
Well, that's to be expected on an assignment like this. Undercover work takes time. You can't rush it. However, it looks as if we're on the right track.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Chief. Ames has heard plenty of talk in the outfit about a counterfeiting operation, but it seems to be, well, a special setup. A separate unit of Carey's organization.
And he's had no indication so far as to where it might be located or what jobbers are distributing the counterfeit bills?
No, sir. The new 10s are still showing up in a widely scattered pattern. So far, we haven't been able to pick up any passers.
What about the 5s?
Activity's died down a little. They might be getting ready to print up a new batch.
All right, Dalton, keep me informed on all new developments with Ames and run down this lead on the Rivers Paper Company. It may be a good one. Upon investigation by Agent Dalton, the Rivers Paper Company was found to be a legitimate corporation engaged in the manufacture of stationery of all kinds. Dalton obtained samples of the various bonds which the Rivers Company manufactured and sent them on to Washington for analysis. It was here that an important discovery was made. One of the samples was found to be the identical bond number paper used in the counterfeit $10 bills. Upon receipt of this information, Dalton began an immediate investigation of all the companies and individual buyers who had purchased bond numbers XB42 from the Rivers Company in the past 6 months. And one of them, the Acme Engineering Corporation, proved to be non-existent. Checking with the shipping foreman at the Rivers Company, Dalton then learned that the so-called Acme Corporation had always picked up its own orders with its own truck and its own driver. And after searching through the files of criminals with counterfeiting records, the foreman was able to identify this truck driver as George Troy, an ex-convict whose present whereabouts were unknown.
If we're going ahead with a new batch, you'll have to let me know.
Keep your shirt on, George. I'll get in touch with you as soon as I've lined up the buyers. And listen, I'll call you. Right.
Who's George?
Works for me.
Yeah, another one of your operations, huh?
Maybe.
You're full of them, ain't you? When are you going to start using me on one of these shakes? You keep promising to let me in on one of your counterfeiting deals, but you never do anything about it. How about a little action, huh?
That's what I'm saving you for. Action. As a matter of fact, I got a job for you if you could handle it. You make the grade on this one, and you could write your own ticket with me.
What's the deal? You know I ain't never chickened out on you yet, have I? What do you got in mind?
I want you to take care of somebody for me. For $1,000 bucks.
What?
You wanted to prove what a hotshot you were. Okay. This is it.
You mean you want me to rub somebody out?
Yeah, that's what I said. What's the matter? Don't you like the idea? I thought you had nerve.
Well, sure, but this ain't exactly my line, Carey.
Shouldn't be too tough to handle if it's done right, especially for a guy like you that ain't even known around here. Cops wouldn't be on you in a million years.
I don't know about that, Carey.
Okay, okay. You got cold feet, say so. I'll get somebody else to handle it. Except this is the end of the line as far as I'm concerned. You don't do this job for me, you don't work here anymore.
Well, now, wait a minute.
Now, look, kid. I don't like four flushes. You got something on the ball, you go places with me. If it's just a lot of talk, I don't want you around here.
I didn't say that I wouldn't do it. It's just that it came at me all of a sudden, like, that's all. Give me a chance to think it over, will you?
Okay. You got until tomorrow morning. There's your hat. Beat it.
Well, it's almost incredible, Dalton. Carey actually wants Ames to commit a murder for him. He came right out and said so in that many words.
He offered him $1,000, and Ames has until tomorrow morning to make up his mind. Either he takes the deal or he doesn't work for Carey anymore.
Well, what's the story? Who does Carey want killed?
Well, he wouldn't say, sir. That's what makes it tough. If Ames backs out now, Carey will probably get somebody else to do the job. And if Ames stays, well, you can see what kind of a spot he's in.
Well, I'm afraid he's going to have to stay, Dalton. We still haven't anywhere near enough information to move in on Carey. And if Ames does pull out now, he'll not only lose all those weeks of work, but somebody will be murdered, and we don't know who that somebody is.
All right, Chief. I'll tell Ames he'll have to stay. But in a spot like this, he's sure going to have to walk a tightrope.
Well, what's it gonna be? Are you in or out? What's the story?
Well, I'm here, ain't I? It's gonna be in.
Good boy, Frankie. I know you had nerve, now this proves it. From now on, you and me are gonna get along just fine.
Quit soft-soaping me, will you? I'm only doing this for one reason, that's the dough. Now, who's this guy you want me to knock off? What's his name?
Guy by the name of Ogden. Come on, I'll take you over to his apartment. Introduce you to his wife.
There it is.
You sure this is a good picture of your husband?
I told you it was taken 6 months ago. What did you guys have to come here for anyhow? I could have sent a picture.
Take it easy, Molly. The kid's got to do this thing right. He's got to know what your husband does all day, where he goes.
Why don't you just stop talking about it? I don't want to know anything that's going on. I don't even want to know who's doing it.
You want the insurance, don't you? That's what you're paying me for, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Then tell Ames everything he wants to know. Where your husband works, when he leaves the house, what time he gets home.
He doesn't work. He's been sick for 2 years now, ever since he got out of jail. All he can do is just sit around the house or go out for a walk, maybe. I gotta do all the work. For 2 years now, I gotta treat him like a baby. I gotta buy his food and his clothes. Sling hash 12 hours a day so he can live maybe a couple years more. It's a lot to do for a guy you don't even love anymore.
How come your husband went to jail?
Forging checks. What difference does it make anyhow? Look, why don't you guys just get out of here and leave me alone? Just tell me when it's all done, will you?
How long do you figure it'll take, Frankie?
Well, I gotta do this my own way. I ain't gonna just walk out in the street and plug somebody. I gotta pick my own time and place. After all, we're all in on this together. And nobody wants to get cut, so I better do it right.
Okay, kid, do it your own way. Only I want it done fast. I want it done real fast.
And you still haven't found out anything about this man, George Troy, or the counterfeiting operation, huh?
Nothing you could really pin down. Carey's getting ready to make a new batch of 10s. I found out that much. But where or when or who else is in on the deal, I still don't know. In the meantime, I'm sitting on a bomb.
Well, stall him as long as you can. But don't get hurt. We'll keep you covered.
Why? Give me one excuse why you haven't done it yet. You've been on this thing 10 days now, and all I hear from you is alibis.
Look, I'm just as anxious to get it over with as you are.
Well, why don't you do something about it? Yesterday you had something all figured out. Today you don't like it. 3 days ago it was the same thing. How many times you gonna figure this job before you do it?
It ain't that easy, I tell you. He don't go out at night. And all day long he sits around the house, reading.
Okay, stop giving me excuses. I told you I wanted this job done real fast. Now go on over to Molly's place, figure something out. She said she's got an idea for you.
Molly's got an idea?
You heard me. Go on over there. She's waiting for you up on the roof.
He comes up here all the time, especially these hot summer nights. It's got this birdhouse up here. Comes up to leave food for the birds. Sometimes you don't get back to the apartment till 10, 11 o'clock.
So what do you want me to do? Shoot him up here? Where anybody on these other roofs can hear the shot and come a-running? I never make it down to the street.
I didn't say you had to shoot him. It's 6 flights up.
I don't get it.
Oh, for crying out loud, do I have to tell you everything? You were supposed to do this all by yourself. Now I gotta show you every move.
Maybe I figured you didn't want it done. Maybe I figured I was doing you a favor.
Well, I do. I just can't stand this waiting around anymore. Seeing him every day, having him look at me like I was somebody that was helping him.
They might go through with it, Molly. How are you going to feel after it's all over?
You leave me alone. I want it this way. Look, I want some kind of a life. Every time you put it off, Look, the guy is sick. He gets dizzy spells. All he'd have to do is come up here some night when nobody's around and... Well, it could happen like that, couldn't it? Oh, all you'd have to do is just... with just one little push.
Molly, what are you doing up here? I thought you were at the movies.
Well, I changed my mind. Seth, this here's a friend of mine from the diner. His name is Frankie.
Pleased to meet you, Frankie. Nice up here, ain't it?
Yeah.
I come up here to feed the birds. I've got a whole family of robins in here. Little ones are just learning to fly.
Well, I gotta go, Molly.
Well, what's your rush? Why don't you stay up here and talk to Seth a while? You'd like some company, wouldn't you, Seth?
Sure. I don't get much chance to talk to people. Why don't you stay up here, Molly? I hardly see you anymore.
Well, I'm awful tired, Seth. I think I'll go get ready for bed.
Nice night, ain't it?
Yeah, great.
24 hours is all I'm giving you. 24 more hours to do this job or else you're pulling out of here. And you better pull out of here fast.
I don't know why you're getting so excited, Kerry. I couldn't take a chance last night. There were 3 guys on a roof right across the street, just standing there and watching. If I'd have pushed the guy, they would have seen the whole thing.
Just 24 hours, Frankie, and I ain't fooling. Answer that.
Hello? Yeah, Chester, he's here.
What are you bothering me for? I thought I told George not to call me. Well, you call him back and tell him I'll let him know. Yeah, he's in room 261.
What's up?
None of your business. Nothing's your business until Ogden gets it, you understand? Just remember, Frankie, 24 hours.
On the hunch that the name George, which Carrie had mentioned on the phone, might possibly be George Troy, the truck driver who had picked up the paper supplies from the Rivers Paper Company, Ames telephoned Agent Dalton and notified him that George Troy might possibly be staying at a local hotel in room 261, the room which Carrie had spoken of. Immediately, Dalton went to work, calling every listed hotel in the local area, and at each, asking for room 261 and a man named Georgie.
Yeah? Yeah, this is Georgie. Who are you?
It's Frankie Ames, Georgie. I joined Carrie's outfit about 6 weeks ago. Didn't the boss ever mention my name to you? Don't make no difference.
Having discovered the whereabouts of George Troy, Agent Dalton immediately assigned 2 men to keep Troy under constant surveillance. Other agents of the Secret Service were posted at the Rivers Paper Company, where Troy ordered a new supply of paper after talking with Agent Dalton.
Hello?
Hello, Ames. Dalton. It worked. We located Troy at the Sussex Hotel, and we've got him under surveillance. You better watch your step. There may be trouble.
Okay, thanks.
Who was that?
It was just a friend of mine, some guy I was in stir with. What's the idea of the gun, Kerry? The way I come barging in here a few minutes ago, you think I'd blown up City Hall?
Maybe you have. Let's go, kid.
Ain't you gonna tell me what's up?
Sure. George Troy called. Says you phoned him.
I don't get it. I didn't call any George Troy. I don't even know the guy. It don't make sense.
Don't make sense to me either, except for one thing. You're trying to set up some kind of a trap.
For who? What kind of a guy you think I am?
You really want to know? I think you're a cop.
What?
It figures, Frankie. The way you're trying to get the lowdown on my green operations. The way you're stalling on a murder. The way you're always nosing around. I think you're a cop. That's why I'm here. I'm gonna make you go through with the murder. Then I'll know.
Now, wait a minute, Kerry.
I ain't got any minutes to spare. We're going over to Molly's place, up on the roof, wait for her husband. Then we're gonna find out whether you're a cop or not. We'll find out in 2 minutes. Get moving.
You ain't coming up, I'm telling you. We're gonna stand here all night for nothing.
All right, so we'll stand. You just stay where you are. Molly told me on the phone he never misses.
What do I care what it sounded like to you? I got a right to go where I please, haven't I?
Sure, Molly, sure. Only I just get a little lonely for you, that's all.
You'll be all right, Seth. Why don't you go upstairs on the roof? Feed your birds. You're a little late tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I guess I am.
Well, I'll be seeing you, Seth. I'll be back in a couple of days.
Molly, anything wrong? You look so, oh, I don't know, funny.
Well, Seth, I gotta go.
Well, Molly, ain't you going to kiss me goodbye?
Sure, I'll kiss you goodbye. Goodbye, Seth.
Goodbye, Molly.
Okay, kid, do your stuff. Run over, give him a shove.
Wait till he gets settled.
No, I said. It's either you or him. Come on, make it fast.
Wait, oh, hello, Frankie. What brings you up here?
Oh, I just thought I'd come up and get some night air.
Fine, great. Come on, let's sit down and talk a while.
I don't like to sit so near the edge. Besides, I'd like to look at your birds, huh?
Sure. The robins have all gone now. In a couple of weeks, they'll be making nests of their own. Funny, ain't it, how they stick together when they're real young?
Pick him up and throw him over the ledge. I said pick him up and throw him over the ledge, or do you want me to give it to you? Come on, move! Move! Over. I said over.
You were right, Kerry. I am a cop. And from now on, I'm going to behave like one. Now, come on, get up on your feet. You're under arrest.
This unusual case had an unhappy ending for all parties concerned, including Agent Ames, who tried so desperately to save Seth Ogden's life. The blow which Ogden received on the roof that night was not fatal in itself, but his health was so poor he never recovered from it. Both Herb Carey and Molly Ogden were convicted of attempted murder and are serving sentences on the state penitentiary. As for the other members of Carey's gang, George Troy and Chester Palmer were picked up when they tried to avoid arrest by fleeing to the gang's hideout, an upstate farmhouse. With a counterfeit plate, several $1,000s in counterfeit bills, and 4 other members of the gang were also picked up.
So what did he say?
Well, he didn't say nothing yet. I wouldn't offer him no deal until after you get a chance to meet the guy. But you won't have no trouble buying the joint. It's up for sale.
I told you, I don't want to buy the place. I just want a hunk of it.
Even if you can get the whole setup for 18 grand?
What good is the whole setup, you dope? Can I go into the shellac-making business with my record?
Well, who's going to know about that?
The government is going to know about that. The first time I try to buy denatured alcohol, I'd have to fill out an application, wouldn't I?
Well, you could use a phony name.
Sure. I can talk myself into a nice perjury rap, too, as soon as they got wise to me. Look, Whitey, you don't know this racket yet. It ain't like running a gambling joint. When you buy denatured alcohol, you got to deal with the government. You got to have somebody front for you. Somebody they trust enough to give a permit to. Otherwise, you can't buy a drop.
Oh, I get you now. You just want to use this shellac guy to buy it for you.
That's why I asked you to look him over, to see if we can take him without us knowing it.
In order to evade alcohol taxes, people who manufacture bootleg liquor either make the alcohol themselves illegally, steal it, or by a cleaning process, recover it from denatured industrial alcohol, which is tax-free, but which has been made unfit for drinking. And now, in my role as Chief Enforcement Officer of the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax Division, Internal Revenue Service, I'm going to tell you about a case involving this process and the life of a man who unwittingly became a party to it. This is Treasury File 6410, Alcohol and Tobacco Tax Division. The case of the frightened man.
Now, as I understand it, you don't want to buy the business outright, but you do want a half interest.
That's right, Mr. Miller. Kind of a partnership. We don't know too much about the shellac-making business, so we want you to stay right on here and run everything the way you have been. We'd kind of just be backers.
Well, I sure could use the money you'd be investing. I could pay some of my bills and get on my feet again. After all, I've been here a long while. You see, this belonged to my father before me, and it sure would please me if I could go on working here and not have to sell out.
Look, Mr. Miller, we want you here as long as you want to stay. We just feel we can make the place pay if it's run right.
Well, it may take you a while to get your investment back.
Well, that's okay. Mr. Sherman ain't in no hurry.
That's right. Besides, I got a couple of ideas how we can pull you out of the red. It takes a lot of denatured alcohol to make up the shellac and stuff, don't it?
That's right, it does.
About how much does your permit allow you to buy?
Well, my permit's for 600 gallons a month, but with business the way it is, I haven't been buying near that much.
Well, I got a hunch you will from now on, so you better start ordering it. When you go into business with me, Mr. Miller, you're going to sell a lot of shellac.
Well, who are these new friends of yours, Pa? Millionaires from Chicago or something?
I don't know that they're millionaires, son, but they've got a lot of money. Enough to get me out of the hole that I'm in. Why, if they hadn't come in with me, I wouldn't have been able to meet Malone at the bank. I'd have had to sell the place for practically nothing just to pay my bills.
Then how come they're giving you so much money? Can't they see it ain't worth that much?
Well, they've got plans, son, and they've certainly got sales contacts. Why, since they've been with me, they've taken more orders for shellac than I've been able to sell in the last 3 years. And they've got a new process, too, for making it.
I don't see them making any shellac.
Oh, they're making it all right in the big shed, right behind the storeroom. I'll take you there sometime and show you all the new equipment they brought in. I'll take you Saturday.
I've been there, Pa. They wouldn't let me in. As soon as I showed my face in there, they'd chase me out.
Well, this new process is kind of a secret, son. Sometimes they won't even let me in except to roll in supplies. You see, they're using a new formula. They haven't got a patent on it yet. They want to keep it to themselves. That's understandable.
Pa, they haven't got any new formula. They ain't even making shellac. They got whiskey out in that shed. Plain, ordinary rye whiskey.
Why, Clyde, what on earth are you talking about?
I saw 'em, Pa, pouring it into bottles and loading it onto a covered truck. I even sneaked in after they were through and picked up one of those bottles.
Clyde.
Honest, Pa, it said whiskey on it. Rye whiskey, guaranteed 6 years old. See, Pa, I told you they were loading whiskey in here. They take it out of the shed in 5-gallon cans and pour it in these bottles. That's why they always keep the door locked and chase everybody away.
And all this time, they've been making whiskey in there. Taking the alcohol that I've been getting for them and making it into whiskey. No wonder they could pay me all that money. They've been getting it back on this.
Sure, they're just a couple of crooks.
What are you talking about, kid? I thought I'd tell you to keep out of this place. You were going to keep out too, Miller, remember? I warned you about the secret process I have in there. I didn't want nobody to see it, not even you.
It's no secret anymore, Sherman. I know what you're doing in there. You're making whiskey.
Yeah?
You're just using my place for a front. You didn't want to go into business with me. All you wanted was the alcohol I could get for you.
You're jumping to an awful lot of conclusions, Mr. Miller. Just because you see a couple of whiskey bottles laying around here doesn't mean we're making the stuff.
Then what are you doing? I want to know what you're using the alcohol for. My kid says he saw you load a whole truck with whiskey the other day.
Well, your kid don't see so good. I say we're select.
And was whiskey, Pa, just like this.
You keep your mouth shut.
Here, you leave him.
Take it easy, Miller. There's no sense in getting all worked up about this. We got to talk it over for a while. Get the kid out of here, Whitey.
Don't you touch that boy. Come on.
Quiet, Miller. You're getting all worked up over nothing at all.
What?
Now, let's be sensible about this, huh, Miller? You're a nice guy, and so am I. Why should we make trouble for each other? We're trying to get along in the world. You in your way, me in mine. Now, what's wrong with that?
You're a crook, Sherman. A racketeer.
So, I'm a racketeer, and you make shellac. You need me for the dough, and I need you for the alcohol. What could be better?
I don't need your kind of money.
Look, Miller, there's only one kind of money, and you might as well take it while it's coming in. Because if you're going to try to be a hero about this, you're going to get hurt.
And according to the report, most of this whiskey has been appearing in southern Ohio and Indiana.
Anything distinctive about the bottle or the whiskey itself? The lab turn up anything?
Just one unusual item. Outside of the normal amount of flavor extract and coloring matter, the lab found traces of an alcohol denaturant, which would seem to indicate that whoever is making this whiskey is probably using industrial alcohol that's been recovered.
Cleaning it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any leads on where this denatured alcohol is coming from?
Just one so far. I checked with the regional office, and I had a list made up of all denatured alcohol permits applied for during the past year. Take a look at it. About halfway down the page, there's a shellac and varnish company that's increased its purchases almost 300% in the past few months.
Yeah, that might be the source, Chief.
Well, it's certainly worth looking into, Warwick. The company is buying almost 600 gallons a month. And the denaturant in the alcohol that they're buying is the same as the one that was found in this whiskey. In an effort to find out if the increased purchases of denatured alcohol, which Mr. Miller had been making in recent months, were warranted by a corresponding increase in the amount of business he was doing, Investigator Warwick checked with several businessmen in town who knew Miller and supplied him with the other raw materials needed for the manufacture of shellac and varnish.
No, I'd have no way of knowing that, Mr. Warwick. We simply take orders and make deliveries to him.
Mm-hmm. But in the past 6 months, there's been no indication of increase in business activity, and the orders he's placed with you for raw materials have been about the same as they always were.
Yes, sir. Well, now, come to think of it, I have noticed one thing. He's not so far behind on his bills anymore. But I suppose that's natural enough. He's beginning to get on his feet again.
Oh, how do you mean?
Well, he was in bad shape for a couple of years there. First he lost his wife, and then his business went bad. Had the place up for sale only a few months back. Couldn't make his notes at the bank. Then he was going to sell out.
Oh, do you happen to know why he didn't sell out? How he suddenly got enough money to continue?
No, sir, I don't. Well, there's been talk around town about him taking in a couple of new partners, but nobody around here ever sees them or knows who they are.
Mm-hmm. And Miller himself doesn't talk about them?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Rustin. I appreciate your cooperation. You've been very helpful.
Welcome.
Another one, Pa? You gonna write for another alcohol permit for those two guys? Well, you know they're crooks.
I don't know anything of the kind. Now, we were mistaken about them. They weren't really making whiskey. That was just one of the workers. One of the mixers. They fired him, and there's nothing like that going on anymore.
Pa, how can you talk like that? How can you make believe there's nothing going on when you know there is? It's like you're working for them, Pa. It's like being as bad as they are.
It isn't being anything. Now, you're just too young to understand. I wish you'd mind your own business.
Ain't it my business to see that you get a square deal and not let those two crooks walk all over you? Why didn't you throw them out? Why didn't you go to the police?
Because there's nothing to go to the police about.
Isn't there? You never lied to me, Pa. As long as I can remember, you never told me anything that wasn't so. And now you're washing all that out. You're washing out a lot of other things, too, Pa. All the things you and Ma taught me about being honest, standing up for what's right. If I did what you're doing now, you'd smack me. You'd take me out in this shed and...
No, I wouldn't, son. I'd try to understand.
Understand? Understand what? Knowing you're doing something wrong and closing your eyes to it? How many more permits are you gonna write for them? How long are you gonna let them go on, Pa?
What do you expect me to do? Let them kill me? Let them shoot me in the head and leave me in an alley somewhere?
They wouldn't dare.
But I can't, Clyde. Don't you see, if it was just me, it'd be different. But it's you, too. Who'll take care of you if anything happens to me?
But don't you see, Pa? Something's happening to you right now. You're not the same as you used to be. Since you let those two guys come in here, they've been walking all over you, ordering you around, making you act like somebody I can't look up to anymore.
Clyde.
Well, it's true, Pa, I can't.
Son, can't you see my... Hello, Miller Shellac and Varnish Company. Oh, hello, Mr. Sherman.
Hi. No. I just called up to find out about that application for a new permit. You sent it in yet?
Well, no, I haven't. I was just making it out. I don't think I'd better send it in. I've been applying for so much lately, I don't think I can do it anymore. If it keeps on like this...
Now, look, Miller, if you want me to get tough, So what do I care if it's squeezing you? Don't make so much shellac. Put water in it. Only don't argue with me.
But, Mr. Sherman... No, I didn't say that. All right, I'll send it in this afternoon. Clyde, You're ashamed of me, aren't you, son? You think I'm a coward.
I didn't say that.
Oh, if that's what you're thinking. When a man won't stand up and fight, I guess he's a coward. That man happens to be your own father. It's pretty hard to take. Especially when you've looked up to him all your life and thought he was a pretty great guy.
Pa.
It's what kids always think about their fathers. That they're strong and tough. They can lick anybody or anything in the whole world, but it isn't so, son. Sometimes we can't lick anybody. Sometimes we don't know what to do or where to go or even how to get along in the world. Sometimes we're just like kids.
But, Pa, if you know they're crooks and you don't do anything about it...
But I can't, Clyde. Don't you think I've tried? Do you think I'd go on like this if there was any way out? These aren't just crooks. They're killers. They're members of a gang, and they'll do anything to get what they want. This isn't like fighting the kid in the street. In this kind of a fight, you haven't got a chance.
But if you went to the police, they'd be caught, wouldn't they?
But how do I know they'll be caught? They aren't always caught. Half of them belong in jail. They aren't there, are they?
Because people like you are too scared to turn them in.
That's right. I'm scared, I admit it. But I'm alive.
Are you? You call living like this being alive? Taking orders, being afraid all the time? Cutting down the shellac you make so you can give them more alcohol? How long are you going to let this go on?
I don't know what I'm going to do, son. Just leave me alone.
So you don't want the deal no more, huh? You hear that, Whitey? He don't like our money. He wants to call everything off.
You gotta let me out, Sherman. I'll pay you back every cent I owe you. Just let me out and I'll sell this place for whatever I can get.
We don't want you to sell, Miller. We can't get no more alky if you sell. That's why we invested in you.
You never invested in me. All you wanted was the alcohol. You wouldn't have gotten that if you hadn't fooled me into thinking you were honest. Now, please, Sherman, you've done everything you can for me. You've got to let me out. I just can't take it anymore.
You're gonna have to take it, Miller, because you haven't got the nerve to do anything else.
I will. I'll go to the police.
Will you?
You've got to let me out, I tell you.
Okay. You want out? All you gotta do is say the word. Go ahead, Miller. Say it if you can't take it anymore. I'll put you out. You see? I know your kind better than you do yourself. Now go on, get out of here. Don't come back crying to me anymore, because if you do, I'll give you what you're looking for, understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh, hello, Warwick. What's new? I see. You think that Miller is actually making less shellac than he was before, in spite of the increase in alcohol orders?
Yes, sir. I've been checking with some of his customers, and not one of them reports an increase in purchases. If anything, their orders are smaller.
Well, if that's the case, we better find out exactly what Miller is up to. See if you can make a thorough examination of the plant and, if possible, his books without arousing suspicion.
All right, Chief. I'll go right to work on it. As soon as I have any news, I'll let you know.
Good afternoon. Can I help you?
Mr. Miller?
That's right.
How do you do? My name's Warwick. I happened to be out this way on business, Mr. Miller, and I heard that you were at one time considering selling this place. At least I understand it was on the market for a month or two.
Well, yes, it was, Mr. Warwick. Why?
Oh, I was just wondering. As a matter of fact, I wanted to find out if there's any possibility of your offering it for sale again.
Well, yes, there is, if the right buyer comes along. Sit down, Mr. Warwick.
Thanks.
In fact, I was thinking about this just this morning. I'd sort of like to get out of what I'm doing and go into some new kind of business. Well, I need a change.
Mm-hmm. Of course, you can furnish statements on profits, volume of business, the accounts you service, and so on?
Of course, of course. I'll be glad to show you my books. We could have an appointment, and I'll go over them with you.
Good.
In fact, if you'd like to look over the...
What is it, Mr. Miller?
I'm afraid we'd better continue this discussion some other time, Mr. Warwick.
Well, any time you say.
Well, suppose you come back tomorrow. We'll have more time to talk about it then. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. I'll be back in the morning.
Thank you.
Who's your friend, Miller?
Oh, no friend, just someone that walked in.
Is that why you try to make a deal with him? I told you to behave yourself, Miller. Not to try to sell out on me behind my back.
Why, I don't know what you mean.
Come on, quit stalling. We heard what you said. You were trying to sell him the place.
No, I wasn't. Just the opposite. I said it wasn't on the market anymore.
Look, Miller. We're partners, you and me. Partners for good. I don't like you to try to wiggle out on me.
Oh, but I wasn't. Honest, Mr. Sherman. I know that I can't get out of our deal. You told me so, but I've lived up to my part of it, haven't I? What more do you want?
A guarantee, Miller. A guarantee you wouldn't pull a stunt like this again.
Oh, don't.
Shut up. I ain't listening to words no more. I don't like to get crossed. I gotta teach you to be a good boy. A real good boy. Take him out in the shed, Whitey.
No, please, please.
Out, I said.
You haven't seen him at all, Mr. Calvin? Oh, I thought maybe he might have stopped there on his way home from work. No, I'm worried about him. He's 2 hours late now. I'm afraid something might have happened to him. See, he usually comes... He just came in. Sorry to bother you, Mr. Calvin. Pa, what happened?
Nothing, Clyde. Nothing.
I'll get a doctor.
No. Don't get anybody. Nobody.
But, Pa, you're hurt.
I said no, Clyde. Nobody must know about this. Otherwise, they'll beat me more next time. Otherwise, next time they'll kill me.
It was Sherman. Him and that other gangster. I'll get a doctor.
No, Clyde. I said you can't. Nobody must know about this. Nobody must ever know.
Feeling any better today, Pa?
Oh, I'll be all right, son.
Pa, I'm sorry.
No, Clyde, don't answer it. I don't want to see anybody.
Pa, you can't keep hiding. People are gonna find out sooner or later. What are you gonna tell them?
Clyde.
Yeah?
Hi, son. My name is Warwick. I had an appointment with Mr. Miller this morning, but he wasn't at his store. Is he at home?
Yeah, come on in.
Thanks.
Pa, Mr. Warwick's here to see you.
I called your store, Mr. What happened to you?
Oh, I had an accident, Mr. Warwick.
I'm sorry to hear it. How did it happen?
Well, I slipped on some stairs. I'm sorry, but I'm in no condition to talk business today. Besides, I don't want to sell the shellac business anymore. I've changed my mind.
Well, naturally, you don't feel like talking about it now. Where did you have this accident, Mr. Miller? Was it here at home?
Yes, I slipped on the cellar stairs. There was something on the first step.
You're not in some sort of trouble, are you, Mr. Miller? Because if you are, I'd like to help.
Oh, no trouble.
Tell me, Mr. Miller, those two men who were with you yesterday, are they friends of yours? Do you know them very well?
No, I never saw them before. Now, for heaven's sake, can't you leave me alone? I just don't feel like talking anymore.
All right, Mr. Miller. I just hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Pa, maybe you think it's right, but I say it's wrong. I know it's wrong to let things like this happen to you and not do anything about it. I don't care who those two guys are or how tough they can be. We can't let them get away with it. In the end, they'll only make it worse than it is now.
They can't make it any worse than it is now, son. If I just do what they tell me and not make any trouble, sooner or later they'll finish what they're doing and they'll go away.
They won't, Pa. They'll stay as long as you let them stay. As long as they know you're still afraid of them. The only way to get rid of them is to chase them out. Stand up to them. Let them know you mean business.
Where are you going, Clyde?
I'll be back, Pa. When they've gone, I'll be back.
Come back. Clyde! Clyde!
Go on, Whitey. What else? Well, that's it. He said he's going to go to the cops and spill the whole thing. We don't clear out of here. He don't like gangsters. He's going to send us to jail.
Uh-huh. That's big words, kid. You got enough nerve to back him up?
You don't dare do anything to me.
Come on, Ray. Let's cut the chatter and get this thing over with. We got to shut this kid up good.
Well, shut him up, all right.
You lay a hand on me and you'll get it back double. You can't kick everybody around, no matter who you...
Shut up. You hear me? Shut up. You open your mouth again and I'll let you have it.
Go ahead. I ain't afraid of you. You're just bluffing. You haven't got the nerve to plug anybody.
Well, you lousy little punk, I ought to fan your hide for you. Come on, Ray, give it to him. Give it to him. It's the only way we're going to shut this kid up. Come on.
Come on. Drop the gun.
What is this?
That's what it looks like. United States Treasury, Sherman. You're under arrest. You all right?
Sure, I knew they wouldn't hurt me. They're just a lot of hot air.
Well, it's a lucky thing we've been keeping an eye on you ever since you left the house. All right, Clayton, take him on.
Clyde! Clyde, what are you doing here?
Well, I'm all right, Pa.
Sure, he's fine. He's just been helping the Treasury Department crack a tough case.
Well, they're not so tough, Mr. Warwick. Take the gun out of their hands and they're not tough at all.
The basis of evidence obtained by Investigator Warwick and supported by the testimony of Eugene and Clyde Miller, Ray Sherman, Whitey Gage, and 4 of their confederates were tried and convicted for violation of our alcohol tax laws. All 6 men received long sentences in prison. For not notifying the proper authorities, after learning that illegal liquor was being made on his premises, Miller himself was indicted on a lesser charge and pleaded guilty, but received a suspended sentence.
Back already, this is Don O'Malley with Don's Breakfast Cereal Show. That was the end of Federal Operator 99. Might be the end of that serial, but we'll be back next week with more. And if you ever miss one of my shows, go to YouTube under Donald O'Malley or Don's Breakfast Cereal Show. Hit like and subscribe, and you'll never miss one of my shows. And thanks again for tuning in. Hope to see you next time, and be kind to each other. Good night, folks.